Hi, my name is Susanna. Today I want to show you a very special product called Megalon. Have you ever tried to make your car or your industrial equipment work longer, more cost-effective and more reliable? The Megalon product line is part of so-called fourth generation of smart lubricants which do not improve the chemical and physical properties of the oil but work directly on the contact surfaces of the metal. The surface of the metal is made polished and obtains a much better friction profile. Of course, this will also reduce the wear and improve the durability. They are called smart lubricants because it is not important what oil they are added. The oil works purely as a carrier, therefore they may be added to a mineral, semi-synthetic or full synthetic oil. The only oil in which the use of these additives needs to be considered is the polyglycolic oil, which is a special synthetic-based oil to which there are special additives. The Megalon creates a special metal organic layer between the contact surfaces of the metals and works there as a protective shield. This is a significant advantage for your machine or car because it is lubricated immediately after start. It also lowers the energy consumption, what is illogical because if we lower the friction, then we lower also the effort of the machine or engine needs to work. But even this is not the main saving. The most important thing is that the Megalon significantly reduces the attrition, and that leads to lower maintenance costs and much less repairs. If you would like to learn more about the historical background of the development of these smart lubricants, please visit our website. Now let's go over to the practical part of our presentation. This machine you can see here is a simple variant of more complicated laboratory testing machine. It consists of an electric motor which drives this axle. On the end of the axle is an outer bearing ring which rotates. We will generate friction by pushing this opposite part against the bearing ring, and we will try to stop the ring from rotating. Under several types of conditions, we will constantly check the power applied to the bearing ring in kilograms, the power consumption in ampere, and the attrition, which we will see on the opposite part. By doing this test, we want to see how much power we need to apply, how high the power consumption will be, and how the attrition will look like if we don't use any lubricant. The machine got jammed after 4 kg power being applied. Its power consumption was 8 ampere, and let's see the most important thing, the attrition. You can see that the opposite part has been abraded and part of it stayed on the bearing ring. This we need to clean to the following testing conditions are not affected. The outer bearing ring is clean, and now we need to turn the opposite part to a non-abraded spot so we can compare the attrition of all testing conditions. Under test number 2, we will use oil only. Like I already mentioned, it is not important to which oil Megalon is added to. So I have here some semi-synthetic oil from the nearest gas station. We have added 10 ml and fixed the oil tube to the machine. We can see that the bearing ring is being lubricated properly. Now, when we start to push the opposite part against the bearing ring, we see that the machine got jammed after 7 kilograms of power applied. It consumed 8 ampere, and now let's check the opposite part. Next to the first abrasion, we can see the attrition caused by the test number 2. Now, to stimulate the real life, we won't clean the outer ring and go on test number 3. We will add 10% of Megalon to the oil filling. Since we added 10 ml of oil, we need to add 1 ml of Megalon to hold the proportion. Now let's perform the test again. For Megalon, it is ideal to have some time to incorporate into the metal. In the case of this machine, it is about 10 minutes, and for example, in the case of a car, it's about 300 to 500 kilometers. We don't have time to do this now, so I'll try to make the test a little faster. We see that the machine didn't get jammed at all, even though we applied all measurable power. Its consumption stayed very low and constant, but let's see what happened to the opposing part. Here are the abrasions caused by previous tests, and on the last spot we can see the attrition generated by test number 3. Even though we applied several times that much power as before, the abrasion is much lower than under previous conditions. You can see that Megalon can significantly reduce the friction and abrasion, but that's not everything. We have one more condition to test. Let's imagine that for some reason your car or industrial machine loses its oil filling. To simulate this, we set the oil tube aside and turn the opposite part to a new, non-abraded spot. So we start the machine and begin to pull the handle. You can see that we came to the point of the first jam of condition number 1, then crossing the point of jam of condition number 2 when using oil only. You can see that this time we came much further without oil than before. Extreme situations like this can happen, and it's better to be prepared because it can win you some time to solve a difficult situation and save your car or machine from big damage. But we didn't check the opposite part for its abrasion. Let's do it. Now we have 4 abrasion spots here. The first one when running dry, the second one when running with oil only, the third one using oil plus Megalon, and the fourth one, which should look like the first one since we have run dry too. Well, it doesn't. Since we used Megalon in extreme condition, it got incorporated faster and created a much better protective layer. On the outer ring we can see a shiny line that differs from the rest of the material. This is the metal organic coating, the so-called protective layer. Since we apply the pressure only at one point, we have only one thin line here. But if we would take apart an engine of a car where Megalon has been incorporated, the whole engine will look this shiny. So this is what Megalon can do for you. Imagine your car or industrial machine as a human body. As older it grows, as harder it moves. Everybody has two options. We either prevent problems or spend money on solving them. It is very similar with your car or industrial equipment, but in this case, even solving problems can be very easy and efficient. I hope you like this presentation. You can also review our presentation regarding fuel additives, and in the other presentation check how our products helped our customers. Have a nice day!